All right, we're going to call this take two. Good morning. It's Tuesday. We're live. And, well, we're going to try this one more time because we just had a bad false start. My bad. Okay. I'll back that up a little bit and we're going to start from the top of that intro. Anyway, so Reuters puts out this article. They said RNC paints dire portrait of U.S. under Biden. Guys, when the election comes around and you go and you go to make your choice, some people will say I'm not going to tell you how to vote. Well, I'm going to tell you what I expect of you. I expect you to want a good America. Now, when it comes to that choice, and you need to look at the evidence that supports the claim for both candidates, look at the blue cities and look at the red cities. San Diego, in the People's Republic of California, still has a Republican governor a Republican mayor, and is very different than the other cities in the People's Republic of California. For one, people aren't shitting on the streets. Now, in San Francisco and Los Angeles, especially in San Francisco, they're worried about how much effort you have to put into anything. And so for your convenience, they've made it a point to ensure that the used hypodermic needles are co-located with the human feces. That way, when you step on a used hypodermic needle, you also get those infections from where the bum piss is just waiting to eat you alive. Look at your blue cities. There's a subtle difference. You may not notice it at first, but if you look at the red cities and the blue cities, you'll see that there's that subtle difference is the blue cities are on fire. And I don't mean that's fire like it's a great hip hop song, or they're on fire like everybody's excited. No. Literal combustion. Things are burning down. I think we're up to day 90. We might actually get a full 100 days of active riots. It wouldn't surprise me if the riots don't make it to the election. We've got this new shooting over the weekend. This new officer on black man shooting. Go watch that video. I hadn't intended to go into this one, so I forgot the guy's name, but shot 7 times in the... I think I've seen 7 and 11. 7-Eleven. Amusingly, he was not robbing a convenience store at the time. 7-Eleven. So, shot in the back, but clearly justified shooting. I don't need to go into those details, but it was a clearly justified shooting. And then, well, they burned the city down. Well, I guess that's, I guess when a criminal attacks police officers and gets himself killed, then the natural response is to burn Rome. Maybe it's just me. But if I draw my weapon on a police officer, okay, I may not expect to get shot, but I expect them to return fire. I mean, come on. They gotta return fire. At a minimum, I'm gonna lose respect for you if you don't return fire. You gotta try, son. You gotta try. So, the RNC started, and there's one interesting detail that I have found. I'm especially interested in the fact that the RNC has chosen, or rather, at the RNC, the GOP, so at the Republican National Convention, the grand old party, that's the Republicans, our good old elephant walking down the street, getting ready to be ridden by the lion, because the GOP has chosen not to release a new party platform, instead opting to just follow, and I'm totally good with this, to follow along with Donald Trump's second-term agenda. That's awesome. Donald Trump's second-term agenda is basically Donald Trump's first-term agenda, plus fixing all the stuff that having Democrats around has just slowed down or screwed up to begin with. Like renormalizing relations with North Korea, where it's getting tricky because apparently Kim Jong-un has actually been in a coma for the last several months, and his public appearances have either been pre-recorded or done with a body double. And okay. I may have to do a whole other show on that. 왜냐하면 북한에서는 그런 활동에 대한 중요 뉴스단. Exactly. Those North Koreans, woo, son. 북한 사람들이 아주 정장으로 준비됐어. So, hopefully, some madness will consume North Korea, since either a heart attack or possibly the Rona seems to have essentially claimed the 36-year-old leader of the People's Republic of North Korea. It's the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. And please believe, when you think Democratic People's Republic, like North Korea or California, think poop in the streets, mass homelessness, mass starvation, and rolling blackouts, because Gavin Newsom gives not two shits about your human rights or your ability to cook food or run an air conditioner in the hot months of summer. California also happens to be on fire because, well, Smokey the Bear said, don't let anything burn ever. And so there's lots of extra fuel on the ground to just destroy things. Okay. See, this is what happens. This is what happens, Cameron. Leave me by myself. Nobody to rein me in, and I'll just wander down the rabbit trail. Okay. So, we're going to pop back over to the video here.
Trump campaign advisor Kimberly Guilfoyle delivered a fiery speech.
In President Trump's America, we light things up. We don't dim them down.
Phrasing, timing, phrasing. I might not have gone with light things up, but she nails the rest of it.
We build things up. We don't burn them down.
That's better.
We kneel in prayer, and we stand for our flag.
Damn right.
But the first night's primetime program also featured speakers like Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., who made ominous claims about what would happen if Democrats win power in November.
I love that. She said, but it also included Donald Trump. Like, it's like, I want to go to the store, but my foot's broken. I mean, but is one of those, you expect something negative to come afterward. And of course, that's the intent. That's what they're trying to say. This is classic Russell conjugation. Classic Russell conjugation. They are stubborn. He is pig-headed. I am strong-willed.
Joe Biden and the radical left are now coming for our freedom of speech.
Matt Gaetz, one of Trump's...
Okay. And her point was that this is... Okay, RNC paints dire portrait of U.S. under Biden. He just said the Democrats are coming for our freedom of speech. This has been incontrovertibly true for some time. And I mean, like, come on, argue with that. Show me the conservative media that hasn't been actively censored or at least retarded by the active SJW propaganda censorship campaigns. It's disgusting.
Strongest backers in Congress.
It's a horror film, really.
It's a horror film, really. That's the one line. No context. You didn't even falsify context for that. Come on, guys. You're Reuters. I expect better of you.
All the while, Republicans spent much of the evening defending and touting Trump's response to the global health crisis and pushing his, quote, law and order response to anti-racism protests across the country.
I don't understand how the Democrats are getting away with telling people that the Donald has had a bad response on COVID. It's mind-numbing to me that we're hearing this. Okay, it's tedious to relitigate, but let me give it a quick little touch. Mid-February, the Democrats were still attempting to impeach Donald Trump without alleging a legitimate crime. Let me repeat that. I did not say without evidence of the crime they were alleging. No. Without alleging a crime. That's an important distinction, right? They failed in the impeachment, just like they failed in the Russiagate hoax, not because they didn't provide evidence of the crime, but before they even attempted to provide evidence of a crime, they very carefully went out of their way to never actually allege a crime. You see, there is a crime that is similar to what they want you to think is meant by the use of the word collusion. And that crime is conspiracy to defraud or conspiracy to commit. But they never alleged conspiracy to defraud or commit. Instead, they alleged this nebulous penumbral outpick called collusion. Because they knew from the outset that there was never a crime, and there are real, serious legal repercussions to falsely accusing someone or filing false allegations. You talk about a political hit job. Let's conduct an impeachment without a crime. See, when they claimed obstruction, and the Mueller report actually said you can't charge obstruction if there's not an underlying crime which was obstructed, whose investigation is obstructed. There wasn't even an underlying crime alleged. Okay, and I could beat that dead horse all day. Speaking of horses, I've got something new for you. We'll be there in a minute.
Multiple speakers accused Biden of wanting to defund the police, though
Biden has clearly said he wants to defund the police. He quibbled on the language a little bit, and he said, well, what I really mean is I want to reallocate police resources to other places. Oh, so you want to remove funds from the police? Well, no. I don't want to remove funds from the police. I just want to not give them to the police so that I can give them to other... Okay, so you want to defund the police. And if you're a liar. I mean, you could call it a banana all day, but if it's crunchy and tart, I don't believe you. It's an apple. That's one for you, CNN. You shitburgers.
he has so far rejected that position.
I just want to thank the people of North Carolina.
Trump himself spoke from Charlotte, North Carolina earlier in the day to reiterate
Yeah, Trump himself spoke and so talking about compare and contrast with Trump showed up. I'm gonna let you sit with that for a minute. Unlike old Biddy Biden, Trump showed up. He didn't hide in a bunker with a green screen to throw some flags on and drop some deep fake bullshit where he clearly had to do 9 lines of coke just to get through the stutter, Joe. Trump showed up.
reiterate his claims that Democrats would try to steal the election. Trump has repeatedly asserted without evidence that mail-in voting due to the global health crisis would lead to fraud.
Has repeatedly asserted without evidence.
Today, to reiterate his claims that Democrats would try to steal the election. Trump has repeatedly himself.
Okay. We're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors, and then we're going to dig into that claim just a little more. In over 50% of the U.S., a third of the people are obese. Does this look familiar? Does this? Do you feel like this sometimes? Is this how you want to go about losing the weight? The truth is, you look like a cow because you eat like a cow. So forget about the fancy cheeses, the floppy cheeses, the nasty cheeses. Try horse cheese. Horses are far superior. They're friendlier. They're more romantic, more athletic, more aquatic, more playful, more comfortable, more fantastic. They have a better diet, and most importantly, they don't eat their young. So try horse cheese, because after all, you are what you eat. And that one goes out to my buddy, John Bronson. So thanks by the way, John. I mean, the horse cheese gag is one that he did back in the 90s when he had his radioactive BBS, and nukethewhales.com, which I don't think has been active in over 20 years. But the honestly, that's the one that inspired the whole thing. So I'm making all these fake commercials precisely for the comedic effect of just dropping them in the middle of the show as if I had sponsors, which apparently is a real possibility now that I've made some changes and suddenly we're actively growing again. We've added more subscribers in the last 6 months than in the previous almost 2 years. So I've done something different, and apparently it's working. So we'll see how that works out. I will be dropping that on. I will be actually publishing that ad separately, just as a video that you can share, because it's funny. People laugh at it. I had a ball. I whooped that together in about an hour and a half this morning, by the way. So let's get back to this.
Spoke from Charlotte, North Carolina earlier in the day to reiterate his claims that Democrats would try to steal the election. Trump has repeatedly asserted without evidence that mail-in voting due to the global health crisis would lead to fraud.
They'll blame it on the post office. You could see them setting it up. Be very careful and watch it very carefully, because we have to win. This is the most important election in the history.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute, too. Without evidence, 4 people charged with mail-in election fraud as Dems continue to push vote by mail. That's from the end of June. 15 election results that were thrown out because of fraudulent mail-in ballots. Voter fraud is too nominal to make a difference in any given election, goes one popular line of argument, but tell that to voters in parts of Florida, Missouri, New York, and North Carolina. These seem like interesting places. Districts in these 4 states saw election outcomes overturned after absentee voter fraud came to light. And that's with absentee ballots. So, real quick, these lefty shitburgers, they keep telling you that there's no difference. Oh, well, we already have absentee mailing. Yes, there's an absentee ballot where you have already registered to vote, you have proved who you are, you've shown ID, you've registered to vote, you have an address on file, you send in a request, and they send you the ballot. And the absentee voter, I mean, it's hugely important for our military. When I was in Afghanistan, I had to vote in the midterms via absentee ballot. Okay, so the absentee ballot makes sense. What they're talking about with the mail, they're talking about nationwide, mandatory, full mail-in voting, which means mailing out 340 million ballots. Well, 300 million ballots. But they're talking about mailing the ballots to everybody who's old enough to vote, whether you're registered or not. There's no verification. There's no check of identity. And even with the existing absentee format, we already have this problem called ballot harvesting, where, no shit, what happens is a team sends in absentee requests and then goes and collects the absentee ballots and mails them in. This is explicitly legal in California. Explicitly permitted. That is not to say that it is not forbidden by the law. That is to say that there is a law explicitly permitting it. Okay, these are the same people that want you to do the mail-in ballot. Mail-in ballots make, insider sources, mail-in ballots make voter fraud easy. I know because I did it. Right? So here's a story of somebody who went and actually committed it. Even Snopes. Voting by mail is convenient, but not always secret. Aha! See? And that brings us to a whole nother problem. There's cases right now against the Build the Wall Fund and against the NRA, alleging mismanagement of charitable contributions. In both cases, there's a lot of fishy stuff going on. Viva Fry and Barnes Law just did a great live stream on it, where they talked about the fishiness that's going on there. Like they're not being tried in the right venues. They're if they had legitimate causes of action, they would be trying them in the venues where the defendant is located. Instead, they're trying them in like New York City, Southern District of New York. I think both of them are actually SDNY. So they don't have legitimate causes of action here. If they did, they'd have a very some victims, some complaints. So those cases aren't going to go anywhere. But those cases are going to result in a Democrat-friendly prosecutor gaining a copy of the enrollment forms for those organizations. So they get to find out who sent money to build the wall and who sent money to the NRA. They're going to find my name on those lists. And now what? Oh, we can get blackballed. We can get blacklisted. And wasn't too long ago, while President Obama was in office, he said, "I'm not coming for your guns." And I see people online constantly, well, Trump's been harder. Trump's been worse on the Second Amendment than Obama ever was because of the bump stock thing. Okay, look. Trump, you really screwed the pooch on the bump stock thing. That was a bad move. I'm still unhappy about the bump stock thing. Not because I care about bump stocks, but because the Second Amendment clearly says thou shalt not infringe, or shall not be infringed, right? The First Amendment says the Congress shall make no law, right? And then it protects the freedom of speech, assembly, religion, the press, and the freedom to petition the government for redress of grievances. The Second Amendment has no such stipulation or restrictive language as the Congress shall make no law. It says, shall not be infringed. And the word infringe, like, for example, if you look at my little square around my head here, that is an infringe. That is something around me, right? Now I am only infringed by the sides of your phone and or television, laptop, or PC. Unless you just spent way too much money on a MacBook, which I've done it. It's okay. But shall not be infringed means there shall be no law or regulation that is adjacent to the right to keep and bear arms. Now, Obama didn't make any new gun laws. My brother-in-law had a pawn shop where he bought and sold guns. among other things, televisions, whatever people pawn. My uncle, I also have an uncle with a pawn shop. Under Obama, banks were made, so the larger banks especially, were made to stop allowing people who sold guns, pawn shops, gun stores, Walmarts, they just wouldn't let you have an account anymore. Oh, wait, what? Suddenly my business account is frozen in the middle of the day? I don't know to what extent. I know that my brother-in-law had to change banks because of all that. So, oh yeah, Obama wasn't coming for your guns. No. He just wanted to disappear the businesses that carried your ammo, for example. So, quit your lying. Quit your bullshit. Now, back up just a little bit.
Because we have to win. This is the most important election in the history of our country.
The convention comes at a critical juncture for Trump, who currently trails
hang on.
Biden in national opinion polls. But another frenetic day for...
Except that's changing rapidly. Who currently trails Biden in national opinion polls. Except following the DNC, the Democrat National Convention, and prior to the beginning of the RNC, Biden got no bump. But Biden got no bump. But Trump did. Funny how that works out. So, I guess we're almost to the end of this video. I'm probably going to go ahead and close it up.
The White House threatened to overshadow Trump's attempt to recalibrate his campaign at the RNC. In Washington, congressional Democrats probed Trump appointee Louis DeJoy over whether he was deliberately sabotaging mail service to hurt mail-in voting.
Okay, and that's another thing. This bizarre conspiracy theory on the left. Good God, it's funny. The people say right-wing conspiracy nut jobs, right? Really? Right-wing conspiracy theory nut jobs. Huh. I'm looking at you, Rachel Maddow. I'm looking at you, Hillary Clinton. The vast right-wing conspiracy. The vast right-wing... You own all the press. You've got Hollywood. You've got the cartel media. I mean, come on, guys. I can't go buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks because they want me to leave my pistol in the car and shit up your nose for trying to suck the fun out of my Second Amendment or, my right to defend my own life in, let's be real, a Starbucks where, well, Democrats love them some Starbucks. And guess where it's easiest to get shot in America? Wherever there's Democrats. All right, kids, that's all I've got for you today. It's been fun. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about the new format. This is for the live show format. I might do something. I might try to pretty up the daily with Cameron with the 2 headshots. We'll see how that goes. I think I'm liking this. I'm still tinkering with it. We'll see how it works out. But definitely leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought about the horse cheese commercial, because I laughed my ass off when I went back and watched it over again. And, wow, I'm going to have to call them back. So, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And, I mean it. Like, share, and subscribe. Help us out. We are just right there, about to hit 200 subscribers, which that's a big deal for us. And it's been a long time coming. This sudden burst of growth, I think I know what it is that I needed to change, and I think I've made the appropriate changes to fix that. I hope you liked the show. I hope you laughed at the horse cheese commercial. I'll drop that video in just a minute so that you can share it on Facebook and Twitter and all that. And y'all be safe out there. We'll see you back tomorrow for WTF CNN.